Today we're going to look at number properties. Firstly, we're going to look at multiples and the lowest common multiple. A multiple is any number that we can multiply by up from that base number. So multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 and so on. So they can go on forever and ever, and all we need to do is multiply it by all of the whole numbers. So 3 times 1 is 3, that's a multiple. 3 times 2 is 6, that's the next multiple. 3 times 3 is 9, and that's the next multiple, and so on. So for common multiples, we need to have two numbers. So we're looking at two or more numbers, and we have a look at all of their multiples and see if they've got any multiples in common. So 3 and 4, they both have the multiple 12 in common. So that's a common multiple. They also have the number 24 in common, because they can both be multiplied by some number to get to 24. We go 3 times 8 is 24, and we can do 4 times 6 is 24. So 24 is a multiple of both of those numbers. The lowest common multiple is, if we have a look at all of the common multiples that they've got, it's the lowest one, it's the smallest of those numbers. So the lowest common multiple for 3 and 4 is going to be 12. 12 is the lowest number that they both have in common. If we have a look at factors now, the factors of a number are all of the numbers that can be multiplied by some other number to get that number. So if we have a look at the multiples of 12, we've got 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and 3 and 4. They're all factors. They're all factors of 12. So if we look at common factors, then we can have a look at all of the numbers, all of the factors that two or more numbers have in common. So if we have a look at the factors of 12, the factors of 9, 9 has 1, 3, and 9. They're the factors of 9. And 12 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. So the common factors they have both have 1 and 3 as common factors. The highest of those factors, the highest common factor, is 3 for both of them. So the highest common factor for 9 and 12 is 3. Prime numbers only have 2 factors. So the number that is the prime number and 1. So some prime numbers, 3 is a prime number because we can only multiply or divide it by 3 and 1. 5 is a prime number, 7, 9 isn't a prime number, but 11 is, and 13 and 17. They're all prime numbers. You can only divide them by themselves and 1. So 17, we can only divide it by 17 and 1. We can't divide it evenly by 2, can't divide it evenly by 3 or any of those other numbers. A composite number has more than 2 factors. So composite numbers can be things like 6, because 6 can be divided by 2 and 3, as well as 1 and 6. There are many more composite numbers than the prime numbers. The square of a number is the number multiplied by itself. So if we've got any number, multiply it by itself, that's that number squared. So 3 times 3, that's 3 squared. 5 times 5 is 5 squared. So that's the square of a number. So the square of 5. The square root of a number is like going back in the opposite direction. It's the value you would square to get that number. So here, this is the symbol for a square root. It's this sort of tick symbol with the number we're square rooting underneath. So the square root of 9 is 3, and that's because 3 times 3, 3 squared, is 9. So it's going back in the opposite direction. The cube of a number is the number multiplied by itself 3 times. So 5 times 5 times 5 is 5 cubed, or cube of 5. So 5 times 5 times 5 would be 5 cubed. The cube root of a number is the value you would cube to get that number. So once again, going back in the opposite direction, very similar to the square root. The symbol for a cube root, similar to the symbol for the square root, but there's the cube symbol here, there's 3 symbol above the square root there. So this would say the cube root of 8 is 2. And the reason for that is because 2 cubed is 8. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. If we have a look at some examples now, finding the lowest common multiple of 6 and 8, and finding the highest common factor of 36 and 48. So here for the first one, looking at the lowest common multiple, we need to list a large number of multiples of both 6 and 8. So we can list here the multiples of 6 are 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, continuing up. They continue on, but we've only done a relatively small amount here. So you can see here this is 6 times 1, 6 times 2, 6 times 3, 6 times 4, 6 times 5, etc. So then we've listed the multiples of 8. So we've got 8 times 1, 8 times 2, 8 times 3, 8 times 4, 8 times 5, etc. And I've circled here the common ones. So 24 is a common multiple for 6 and 8, and 48 is a common multiple for 6 and 8. But the lowest of those, the lowest common multiple, is the 24 here. So the lowest common multiple of 6 and 8 is 24. For finding a highest common factor, we need to list the factors of the two numbers we've got. So 36, the factors of 36 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9, 12, 18 and 36. They're all of the numbers that we can divide evenly into 36. And you can see that most of them pair up. We can pair them up. So 1 times 36 is 36, 2 times 18 is 36, 3 times 12 is 36, 4 times 9 is 36, and 6 times 6 is 36. We don't need to list it twice. So 6 squared is 36. Here we've listed the factors of 48 as well. Once again, they can be paired up there. I've circled all of the common factors, and you can see there's quite a few. There's 5 common factors. So there's 2 is a common factor, 3, 4, 6, and 12. But the highest of those numbers, the highest common factor, is 12. So the HCF, the highest common factor of 36 and 48, is 12. Here's our second example. We've got four little questions to do. So we're evaluating, so finding the value for these expressions that we've got here. So 6 squared, that's 6 times 6. 6 times 6 is 36. The square root of 81, that's 9, because 9 times 9 is 81. 3 cubed, so that's 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. So, and then 9 times 3 is 27. So the cube of 3 is 27. The cube root of 64, that is 4, because 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 times 4 is 64. So the cube root of 64 is 4.